This is part 5 of a 5-part series. So, there's a human problem, this split of our single being into being a subject who experiences and being an object who is experienced. This split leaves us empty to some extent, incomplete. It leaves us looking outside of ourselves for something, some way we might find to modify the outer world that will do it for us, and somehow we can never ultimately find it. Or we look inside of ourselves for some way to make our subjectivity work out. We search for some state of being we might be able to attain that will do it for us, but that's a lost cause as well. If you can't find the solution looking outside, and you can't find the solution looking inside, where do you look? It can make people desperate, really desperate. Desperate enough to break any and every ethical guideline humans have come up with. There's a law, a commandment, a precept. People break them all the time. Well, just to cut to the chase, I don't have some clear, definite answer for you. I don't have just do A, and then B, and then C, and it's just all going to be okay. No. That said, I do believe there are clues, ways to think about it that can help point the way. The first place to look is always in the present moment. You can start to see some way out of this problem when you become aware our subjectivity doesn't actually exist. By that I mean it doesn't actually exist in the same way that a mirage in the desert doesn't actually exist. It sure feels like the mirage exists. My senses tell me the mirage exists, but it doesn't. Let's assume we all exist. So you can start to see that this problem of thinking I need to exist happens because we're kind of unsure of whether we exist or not. And I think that's what leads to this chase. Do we actually exist? Descartes, I think, therefore I am. What are you even talking about? You think, therefore you are? What are all these thoughts? Where do they come from? How did you start thinking? You think just because you think that means you exist? No, you exist because you exist. You just exist. That's it. You don't have to think it through. Take it as a given. You exist. And this feeling of existence can help point you towards what I'm calling the in-between. And that's what I want to talk about today. Hello, and welcome to the 10 Crutches podcast. My name is David. I'm glad you're here. When I think about what's going to help, I don't know exactly how to say it or how to point to it, and I don't even know that it can be spoken or pointed to. All the things we think and feel, all the plans and strategies, they're all the things we come up with as individuals, subjects, as people who are experiencing this problem of being separated because we have this subject. So all the thinking we do, or at least a lot of it, is just going to lead to more and more of what doesn't quite work, what doesn't quite address it. But I think by becoming more and more aware of all the things that don't work, what you're left with is a present moment you can explore beyond all the ideas and beyond all the concepts, because the present does exist beyond all our ideas and beyond all our concepts. It's just right there. And of course, we need the concepts. We need ways to navigate, ways to communicate. We need all the concepts that we have, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. It's just that we're trying to get them to do something that they can't possibly do. The most important thing to recognize is this. The subject-object split cannot be directly addressed by the efforts of the person who is split. Let me say that again. The subject-object split cannot be directly addressed by the efforts of the person who is split. That's why looking outside or looking inside have nothing to do with healing the split. You can be a subject looking outside of yourself or a subject looking inside of yourself. But as long as you are a subject encountering objects, then that's what's happening. You are a subject encountering objects. I'm doing this all the time. You're doing this all the time. There's nothing wrong with this. Please, let me say that again in a slowed down, slightly distorted voice.
There is nothing wrong with this.
We're very accustomed to thinking there's something wrong and then I need to fix it. There's nothing wrong. You don't need to fix anything. Being a subject is not wrong. It's incomplete. It's not like you can stop doing it anyway. That would just make you a subject who orders yourself to stop being a subject. What's that going to do? What a subject needs can't be given to itself by that very subject or even by another subject. It has to come from somewhere else. So once again, get used to this. Relax into it. There's nothing in particular you yourself as a split individual can do to heal the split. There's nothing you need to do. But this nothing to do needs to be understood correctly. I'm saying it's a little bit similar to there's nothing you need to do to digest your food. Not exactly true, but you don't, as a subject, you don't directly digest your food. You don't decide how much acid does your stomach release to digest this particular amount of food. This particular food in my stomach, when do I move it to my small intestine? I think I'll move it over now and squeeze it through the little duct that's there. No. Your job is to put the food in your mouth, you chew it, you swallow it, possibly even enjoy your food while you're eating it. But then you, the quote-unquote you're done. Once you swallow, you're done. You have nothing more to do. The digestion will happen, but at a level beyond what your subjective self can know about or control. So how does this eating/digestion metaphor map onto our subject-object issue? Well, what I'm talking about is food for thought. I'm talking about the food is these ideas, or any ideas you think might be able to help you. You put these ideas into your metaphorical mouth and you metaphorically chew them, and you think about them and you swallow them. I mean, please, if you don't agree with them, spit them out. But since I'm making this podcast for people who like these ideas, I will assume that you want to hear them and use them as best as you can in your life. So one idea I'm offering is this subject-object split itself. It's just one idea about why are people so fidgety? Why are people so compelled to act in ways that harm others, that harm themselves, that make greed and aggression seem necessary, that make people act against their own best interest, their own best judgment? Why do we keep doing that? So this idea of the subject-object split, to me, helps explain a lot of this. So that's one idea you can swallow if you want. Another idea is about how nothing outside of us and nothing inside of us can address this issue. Another idea is that there's nothing to do directly to solve the issue. You take these ideas in, you quote-unquote swallow them, you think about them, you try them on, and then they just become part of you. They become assimilated into you. You take the nutrition you can take out of them and possibly excrete the rest. And the last idea I'll offer is that all of this is wonderful news. All of this is amazingly hopeful that we can let go of all this chasing, let go of all this manipulation. It's something we never needed to do in the first place. So then the next step is to keep living exactly as you were living. Just like after you eat a meal, you go on living, you go on doing what you were doing. You don't have to do anything different. Lots of people, for example, after they eat, they don't go swimming for half an hour. Well, maybe after you listen to this podcast, you just sit quietly for half an hour. Maybe you take up meditation. That's a great practice to fold into your life. You give yourself a chance to digest these ideas. But there isn't anything to do substantially different, and like I said, there's no need to. You're not doing anything wrong or bad. I mean, unless you are doing something you know is wrong, and in that case, stop it. As you digest these ideas, this food, the ideas will pop up in your awareness from time to time as you go through your day. You don't have to try to force it or try to remember it. If you really have swallowed these ideas, they'll become a part of you. And then maybe as an example, you're looking at an ad for a new car, or you're considering having a second piece of cake. And you may wonder, what am I looking for? Am I trying to use an object outside of me to alleviate my inner emptiness? Or maybe you find yourself wishing you had some inner state that's different than what it actually is. And maybe you're thinking you should change that inner state. Well, maybe you should. But are you trying to change it in order to resolve the subject-object split? Is that your ultimate goal? To make yourself ultimately good enough to exist? Well, as Descartes never figured out, you already exist. It's not that you have to do something, make some exertion. You don't have to make anything extraordinary happen inside of you. We're humans, after all. That's already extraordinary enough. So for particular moments, your intelligence independent of the particular circumstances you're in, your intelligence evaluates and recognizes. You recognize, you recognize. Re is the Latin word for again. Recognize, cognize is the Latin word for to know or to perceive. You re-perceive, you recognize. And then this particular object that you're considering, the need you have for it. It's not the object itself that drops away. It's the need you have to make it into something it can never be. That's what can drop away a little bit. But it's not that it drops away like you're conscious of it dropping away. If you're conscious of it dropping away, it hasn't really dropped away. If you feel like you're, quote, making progress, no, that's just your subject keeping track of things like it always does. And that's fine. We all do that. What I'm talking about is like the digestion of your food. You're not really going, oh, that vitamin in that orange I just ate, my vitamin C just got absorbed into my body. No. It's like that. You don't become conscious of it. It just happens. Your job is just to pay attention to reality. That's the weird paradox of this project. If you're tracking your quote-unquote progress, well, that's just more of the subject-object split, trying to find a solution to this pretended problem. If you are trying to make the, quote, dropping away happen, it's the same thing. You can't have the goal of letting go of your goals, because that's just another goal. This is why allowing yourself to simply be in the present is so profound. The present being what it is includes you, includes all your hopes, includes all the mistakes you're making about pursuing objects for all the wrong reasons. It includes everything, your intelligence, your evaluation, and all the other people doing all those other things too. With moments of recognition, or with any moment of any present you choose, you can realize more and more that the present moment is your deepest and truest friend. It is reality. It is what exists. And you, as a human, are an active participant in reality. You are not as separate and apart and as distinct as you may believe. You are not, quote, one with everything in some new agey bullshit way. But neither are you totally separated in some alienated 21st century way either. So what are you exactly? Where are you? When are you? What is this present moment? If you can get beyond the stories of yourself, you may find there is not really an outside of you. There isn't really an inside of you. You are telling yourself stories about yourself. When you can let them get a little bit fuzzy, you can see, maybe just for a glimpse, that who we think we are is not all we are. Maybe the ways you want to complete yourself are blocked, and maybe as a subject you get frustrated or scared or hopeless. But it's not hopeless at all. As long as you exist, reality is always in front of you, waiting to be perceived, to be recognized, waiting to be participated in over and over each time you come back to it. Reality is just waiting patiently to participate with you. Of course you want to make the world a better place for you and everyone in it. When you look out at the world, you are looking at nothing less than yourself. And when you look inside, you see the whole world is right there. Before I sign off of this 5-part series and go back to whatever's next, I do want to offer one little treat for you. I hope it's a treat. I'm going to play the outro, and then I'll be back and explain what the treat is. Please visit the home of the 10 Crutches podcast at 10crutches.link. That's 10crutches.link. The book that inspired the podcast, a book I wrote called 10 Crutches for Walking in the Present, is available for free download on the website. While you are there, please take advantage of 2 ways to contact me. You can send me an email, or you can make a voice recording. If you have a great question, I may be able to use it for the podcast. Also on the website, you can visit the archive to hear any published episode and see show notes for any and every show. So what follows is a recording I made a few years ago. It's called Subject Object, and it was before I ever thought of a podcast, before I ever thought of doing a 5-piece episode. You can see where I'm interested in this subject when you listen to it. It's one part of a 20-part audio series. I made 20 short audio pieces. I'll put links in the show notes and explain a little bit more about the project in the show notes in case you're interested in that. But meanwhile, I'll play this one piece for you here, and maybe I'll put another piece or 2 in the show notes just to give you an idea of what the project was about. I really hope you got something out of all of this. Thank you so much for listening, and here is Subject Object. You exist as an object, a thing in the world, a human lump of flesh. At the same time, you are a subject, an observer, a perceiver, can think, feel the feelings. You can think the thoughts that come to you. You are someone who can feel. At the same time, you are all the seeing, you are gravity, hearing, weather, objects, tasting, all the myriad conditions. At the same time, you are touching, are a part of here and there. Someone who can feel a human lump, you can experience at the same time, an experience thing in the world, a human, someone who can feel. You experience the experiences of yourself as an object, as a subject, and you must, by your nature, represent yourself to yourself. You must have an idea of yourself in addition to actually being yourself. Between the real self that exists and the imagined self, they seem so similar sometimes, and yet they're not. It's so easy to get confused by the whole thing.